Rise style as well. Janna conspicuously left up right now as a pretty priority support pick right now. We're waiting to see what Samsung Galaxy does with their new bans because Longzhu dropped their Janna ban, dropped their Cho'Gath ban. There's the Janna ban on the other side for this one. That means that Lulu was up from before and Cho'Gath's up from before.
Lulu Varus, a very possible duo lane here for Longzhu. I want to draw your attention to the Malzahar ban, though. The Malzahar pick on the side of Samsung ended up forcing Longzhu away from a facilitator mid laner, a mid laner with a global. I think Rise would have been a heavy consideration for them. Went for the lane, and certainly the lane focus worked in the early game, but they didn't have that extra oomph to guarantee that Khan could get ahead. He had to blind pick the Jax from there. It went away from him in this game. Getting rid of someone who is a blocker to some of those roaming champions can be used against Taliyah, most famously against the Galio, and also the particular pick of the Rise will give Longzhu a couple more options to get BDD ahead, because he's the one most likely to end up with the counter pick on the side of Longzhu.
And right now, Samsung Galaxy can pick almost exactly the same team composition here with the Tristana and Sejuani still being picked like the last time, as Longzhu rushing through theirs. The Jarvan grabbed up, and the Varus pretty early on as well.
And then this time around, I feel more inclined towards Longzhu giving this Jarvan to Khan on the top side, because this is a champion where he can build tanky in the later phases of the game. You know, he can be on the front lines as a stone plate and fight a little bit more standard in that front to back, plus a little bit more standard this time around. Obviously, Longzhu do have Lulu there for the Ardent Sensor.
Look at this, more differences coming through here. They had the option of playing the same Rakan as last game, playing the exact same bot lane. Instead, they want to play the Taric here into this one. Of course, a great team fight tank out of support role as well. That area of effect invulnerability, huge for those 5-on-5s.
I mean, Samsung has the same read that we did. All right, Longzhu, you tried the split push, you tried the Jax, go more towards the team fighting. They take the Taric, one of the best team fighting supports. Sejuani as a premier frontline. You see the Rise will already be banned, so this Malzahar Rise tug of war that was won by Samsung, blinding the Malzahar and preventing the Rise from really being a realistic pick, is once again happening in this series.
Let's see what happens here. This one, Cassiopeia adding to the mid lane ban pools as BDD gonna hope that he can get himself an advantageous mid lane matchup, and that flex Jarvan can work out in the end. Greg is still off the table, of course. Again, a jungle ban out from Samsung Galaxy, expecting that Jarvan to go top.
And it's that eerie feeling I had before this series when I talked about Samsung's preparation. It feels like they are suddenly that 1 inch ahead in terms of where Longzhu wants to go. It does feel like Khan will be taking the top lane Jarvan in this game. Taliyah is also a big pick for Crown, who brought it back into the meta after the nerfs took it out of Worlds 2016. And he'll actually be the one blinding it in this game.
Yeah, we'll see if he's actually able to gain any sort of space to roam again, though. You know, Ambition is back on the Sejuani, and we'll see what Cuzz has in store for him, because it looks like it'll again be the Jarvan into Sejuani matchup, as the Cho'Gath is locked in for Khan.
I'm hoping to get rid of some of the frontline tanks, but of course Maokai and that ilk is still available if they want to. But Shen, of course, another one of the big top lane tanks, so it will be very durable top laners, pretty durable. Looks like Cinderhulk junglers here as well. The Orianna and Taliyah going to be a new twist in this matchup.
Shen pairs so well with Taliyah. Both solo laners this time around, very well equipped for Samsung to play around that bottom side, to start that roaming game.
As Khan's first professional game on the Cho'Gath. Do note, they will have lane priority in top and bot, and mid lane does start to equalize out as well as the laning phase goes out. So this is one of those traditional drafts from Longzhu, but with different champions. It's not the ultra comfort on top lane, especially BDD, when it's not the Taliyah, when it's not the Galio. His next default has been Orianna.
And CuVee here with the Shen, early on, getting the pass-through damage on Cho'Gath. You can get some really good trades. It's all about, can the Cho'Gath actually get up to the minion wave, you know, to utilize the passive and heal back up. And again, the junglers, we're watching so close for how they're going to affect those early lane matchups.
Yeah, jungler is certainly a big deal in this series. It went contrary to what we expected coming into this one, where Ambition had been toothless entirely in the early game. This time around, though, had gotten 2 successful ganks off, got kills on both of them, and really kept a lot of that early game pressure alive, because Longzhu were kind of winning almost all of their lanes. Got that first turret gold, the game still remained close. We'll see if Samsung Galaxy can once again hold on. This time around, though, the composition's much more similar. They're 5v5 fights on both these sides. Lulu Varus versus Taric Tristana. Personally, I'd give a lot of edge to Tristana having more damage in the late game team fights. We'll have to see just how Phreak can do it, because he is absolutely one of the world's best, especially on a signature Varus.
Always hurts the 80s damage numbers a little bit as well if they're playing against the Spirit's Refuge, and blocks out key auto attacks during those team fights. But Prey, especially on the Varus, did have that 1500 DPS game. It was absolutely insane.
Yep.
It was definitely playing against two health stacking tanks, which Varus and all his percent hit damage really plays
against Stone
into.
Plate, a little unfair for damage numbers. That's all. That's pretty biased, but we are into this one. Prey gonna find some opponents.
First time we've seen Samsung with this lineup go for anything other than a full 5-man point defense. So Samsung already showing kind of adaptation that was on play in game one. Invading here, and for Longzhu, it does feel like the mid game is really their refuge to actually find a big advantage. In the early game, it's going to be a bit of a struggle when the globals are online to actually make the sort of tempo plays, the invasion plays, the proactive plays that Longzhu are known for, because there is a lot of those global abilities. In the ultra late game, I really can't look past Tristana Taric as just being oppressive in a true 5v5 fight. So it feels like the breakpoints here for Longzhu are pretty narrow. Doesn't mean they can't do it, but they would not want to fall into 2 games on the blue side, 2 defeats, and already require a reverse sweep for their world's life. But that's actually on the plate right here.
Now getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, of course, it's the beginning of the game. Minions have just spawned, and it all comes down to execution more often than not here. Red buff start for Cuzz Jarvan here on the bot side. His 3rd Jarvan game, really, of his entire career. He's almost always given that champion over to Khan at the top lane. Not the case, of course, here in this series. Very similar sort of starts for Ambition as he started on his top side near his red buff, but yeah, it's going to be a multi-camp clear. He started out Talisman, and it's going to be part of the Raptors into Wolves into maybe his blue.
Ambition throwing up his pathing, and Samsung also getting deep vision and knowing where Cuzz started, something they hadn't been doing in previous series. So we keep mentioning this laundry list of things Samsung need to work on. The laundry list is getting shorter as they continue to adapt.
Maybe some big plays could be required out of Longzhu. Speaking of which, throughout this weekend, make sure to add hashtag World's Big Plays to the moments that make you take to Twitter. We'll be on the lookout so you can share your tweets with us throughout the knockout stage. We'll show off how acute you are at seeing the big plays here in this one as bot lane starts the battle, and it's an early push actually for Samsung Galaxy.
Meanwhile, Cuzz gets the early Scuttle Crab. Double buff right into securing some vision around that top side for Khan on his Cho'Gath. Playing fairly defensive right now, just going to let CuVee push into him a little bit. They have no eyes on Ambition. And if Cho'Gath loses his flash, so easy for repeat ganks. And we've seen a lot of Cho'Gath actually even get camped early on and focused and kind of give away so much pressure in that early game because of overextending in lane.
That's why so much effort from Longzhu was put around setting up the top lane Scuttle Crab, getting the coverage vision to allow Longzhu to just push away. That's why also Prey and Gorilla were very much on the back foot in bot side. Letting Khan control the lane top side by largely having Cuzz around there. It's a good way to ensure those early game repeat ganks can't happen for Khan.
Got to make sure we keep track of the junglers where they're going. Cuzz going to get both Scuttles in the first round of the jungle. Ambition level 4 already, getting everything but the Krugs for himself. And looking at this top side, as we mentioned, Khan's been being pushed in, and that wave's still very far away. So the best Ambition has is a counter jungle, or sorry, a counter gank, as he gets his own Krugs. The rest of his camps are all seen. Cuzz right now down a level, though, and down one of the camps clear.
Meanwhile, Prey and Gorilla pushed up the lane on bottom side as Cuzz and over there as well to provide the extra support and vision. They knew that Ambition is not on this side due to that Scryer's Bloom, and all the camps have been cleared out.
It's little moments like that that shows the veteran status of Longzhu. When they had their jungler topside, they were under their turret. The moment they knew for sure that Ambition was topside, they were able to push in. Still get by far the least attention of any duo lane here at the World Championships. And that lane control is oh so important to stop that being an Achilles heel for Longzhu.
End of the early game comes through, or sorry, the hyper early game, and it's 100 gold up for Ambition, getting an extra camp out against Cuzz, who's into his own jungle just now as the Scuttle Crabs all despawn and the vision goes away. But Longzhu's still doing good elsewhere, of course. Their bot lane up 6, and so far so good for this squad, looking for the victory here as Cuzz looks for the mid lane. Ambition right around him, but Crown is low, looks for the flash, knockup gets it, and the flash away, but he's still gonna go down. The chase in is there, first blood comes through for Cuzz, getting revenge against Ambition.
Crown was very clearly tunnel vision, did not see the initial EQ come in. The flash to course correct on point as well, and another game where BDD and Co get an early lead.
Cuzz early visit towards the mid lane, and we'll see what they can do at this time around, because this is Longzhu playing a much more standard team composition for the meta. We talked about this being the team where that is really the outlier, and especially for Khan himself, not playing a lot of these tanks. We'll have to keep an eye on him and see how he continues to play this matchup, because the Cho'Gath there are some things that are very important in this matchup. You know, having the rupture, keeping vision of the Shen to be able to interrupt, especially the early stand united that can have huge impact. You definitely have to be able to keep some pressure up there and keep that vision, while also, as we said, not exposing yourself to those ganks that are fairly easy to set up.
And Kobe, it's not often that the team that comes in the favorite, the tournament favorite even, is the one rolling the dice first, but that's what game one represented for Longzhu. We're going to see the first gank. And Crown had no idea this was coming. Very nicely capitalized on. Clean stuff from Cuzz, who, like you mentioned, Phreak only started picking up the jungle Jarvan during this tournament when it was a big pick for everyone around the world in the weeks leading up.
And there's a lot of times where people will say, oh yeah, you know, the flash for the knock up there after your EQ a lot of times is not worth going for, because you don't bring the extra damage with you when you're flashing and you're just getting that CC. But because BDD was so close, they knew that it was for sure follow up there. He can add the damage on Orianna. All they needed was to keep Crown in place for another second there. And the double answer, you could see no hesitation. They immediately both follow up and then grab that first blood.
Because Longzhu is still very much this evolving squad, only one split behind them. It's actually Khan's first professional game on Cho'Gath, was never a pick that they looked to. He had very much his own unique champion pool during the course of the group stage. Still is very young in all these careers. No BD smashes down.
He's got the cleanse, he's going to wait for the stop. Here comes the ring into the top side. Shot going to find two for this one, but it's still, it's going to be the damage coming across the top, and the kill in for Crown in the mid lane. Another one going to land, and this could be Cuzz dropping as well. 2 for 0 so far to Samsung Galaxy. Khan to be stunned up if they want it, but there's no follow-up to be had. Still 2-0, a great fight for the red side.
Yeah, Longzhu had an idea that there was going to be a possible counter gank here around mid lane, but instead of having Khan on the top side to try and interrupt his stand united, they have him come down the river to join, and they started out before, or Samsung started out before he could even get close enough to have an impact. So the first stand united, huge there for CuVee. Samsung are able to right the mid lane ship. They get the kill. They get 2 kills actually for themselves, and then are able to steal away the second red.
Roaming first was CoreJJ. He's now with Ambition, counter jungling the enemy red as well. So the timing, like you say, Kobe, oh so important, getting that extra objectives after the trade up. You know, going on to the Cho'Gath for the first time in competitive play, there are those nuances, like where is the right place to be against a Shen? Is it just in his eye line trying to interrupt the stand united or make the counter rotation? It's other picks in Khan react first, but much more difficult to predict.
Maybe he can recover for himself into this one. 0-0-0 and down 5 CS right now. CuVee has definitely had a better game so far early on. One of the best top winners in Korea. Flash out of Gorilla, getting away for the possible stun from Ruler. Of course, you're seeing the power of that duo. Easy to push in the Dazzle stun, the crystallized Starlight where it needs to go, and looking pretty well for himself.
Really respecting the level 6 that was just pinged. Extra burst there for Ruler. Prey only got it on the back end after a couple minions went down.
Oh, bottom lane might get dove here. Remember, the last play was around mid lane, and Crown didn't have to use his ultimate to get there. Now they're definitely outnumbered.
2 kills, they cut him off properly. Here comes the wall. There's nowhere for Longzhu to go. Ulti pop as well. They're going to be durable for this one. 1 kill, make it a second one. The barrier pop means nothing, and the second kill comes in. 2 for 0 in the bot lane.
They didn't even have to mute any damage with the Taric ultimate there, because they had the 4-2 easy dive for Samsung. Now let's see if they can actually continue to pressure this turret. Doesn't look like there's any defense on the way.
And they're playing Longzhu's game as well. Double control ward, triple control ward now on the bot side. Playing around the bot side, no interest in ganking the Cho'Gath, getting the maximum value, 2 kills, and also the first turret.
Impressive for Samsung yet again. Playing to the team composition here, they're able to press the momentum here in the game after the successful counter around mid lane. Crown, easy ultimate, very nice roam on that Taliyah early on to really start to open up the map now.
Pressure may just continue. 2,000 gold is pretty nice at 9 minutes here. Watch this fight again.
There's no information at all on the bot side. They've been playing around top side, expecting that Khan would be the recipient of all the ganks. Gorilla only level 5 at the start. From there, academic for Samsung Galaxy.
A good pressure out of Crown, of course, getting the gank back into the mid lane to give him the pressure after the first blood from BDD. Of course, those flashes were down. Smart of Ambition to get into that lane, bring down CuVee at the level 6 Shen, and those 2 kills crowned that roam pretty easily, and he made a lot happen in that bot lane here as the power spikes continue to push forward. This gold lead, nothing to smirk at right now for Samsung Galaxy.
And again, gold leads are one thing, and item completions are another as well. Not only are Longzhu in a gold hole right now, but you're about to hit that point where Rageblade is half completed. Your next purchase would have to be a big one. You do not want to go back for a small purchase because Blasting Wand does not give you combat effectiveness, and there's going to be a power trough here. In addition to the gold disparity, you know, the power disparity is huge.
And that's why Samsung don't go topside and try to get another turret, try to increase the pace of the game, and allow answering gold to go to Longzhu. What you want to do in this scenario is make Prey and Gorilla accountable for as long as possible, because they just don't have the items to take standing trades against their opponents. Tristana has the option of staying in lane or just using the BF sword to rotate around. They're doubling down on their advantage. Longzhu actually being able to get any semblance of control bot side after what happened with the Taliyah who can run, with the control wards that are already prepared, is difficult. So you're actually ending up denying CS to the Prey and Gorilla, even though it's only 11 minutes into the game.
You see right now, life is difficult for this duo lane. Not a lot of wards in that jungle. There is one that spots the Sejuani moving down, so they know what's going on. And as you're seeing, Gorilla playing very far back as a result, kind of Prey the same, but it allows the wave to push into that tier 2 turret. There's always that threat of a mission coming down. Crown the same. And this, again, should be spotted to a certain extent. The reward's around, but how much can you really do against Ruler here?
Yeah, even if they spot it, you know, a Shen Stay United is available as well, and all you can really do is try and defend at the turrets here for Longzhu. They're doing their best to clear out some of the vision, but the threat is so big here from Samsung.
Nice smite. All right, Cuzz got something. The little victories, because maybe they won't get the big ones here into this one. So he does go in the hole.
Clears out a ward, smites the big chicken away. Whew. Nice to hear.
Unstoppable.
Irony of this game cannot be lost on viewers, though. We're seeing Samsung use the same sword, in fact, stab Longzhu with the sword they've been wielding for the better part of the summer season into Worlds, playing the same sort of style. The Taliyah certainly one of the big comps that Longzhu default over to. Longzhu now adapting more of the meta, going for the Cho'Gath, and Samsung executing in a way that they never really were able to in the group stage.
There's been nothing but praise for all of the players on Longzhu from every other player at the Worlds tournament about how good they are at their position and how little they could do against this team. But Samsung are just swinging away here, back-to-back games, and this one looks very good for them as well.
And Longzhu fall behind with these Rageblade carries. They largely like to keep a 4-man group and have Prey solo down a minion wave, just queuing them, just farming to get to the Rageblade spike. That blasting wand, everyone who plays AD carry shakes their head, knows how bad that feels for now. They still can't look for standing DPS trades unless they know for sure the enemy AD carry is going to be out of it. They'll be low on that.
Ooh, the knockup actually gets him through, and the polymorph there as well. Shockman buys even more time, and the kill does come in. The layer crowd control. I don't know if Ruler had the chance to flash, but it never did hit the ability, and now Riptail, if it doesn't run out of patience, it does though.
Say no more, Papasmithy. He is out of it. Ruler is dead. Flash and barrier are available, but he just got CC'd from 100% to 0 almost.
Got a bit like week 1 Ruler, where he was really struggling to have those late game impacts. Picked it up for week 2, but dying with everything available. It seemed like an impossibility. Could have said the same about some of Longzhu's decision making in game 1.
Especially the barrier, right?
You can cast at all times.
Because if you buy a little bit more time with the Stand United coming in, you know.
Shen's there, maybe you can get the dodges, yeah, but either way, it did land well for Longzhu, so something to go back into this one still. 1,500 gold to come back from as we watch this one more time.
Maybe he didn't think he needed it, but here we go. They get the interrupt initially, and then Gorilla immediately polymorphs him afterwards. Shockwave is able to get that.
That was actually a surprising amount of burst damage to put out there. It looked like 400 HP, and then he was dead, so still no excuse. Could have gone for the earlier barrier, but taken down, and look what's completed. Rageblade out of nowhere for the side of Prey. They also have already completed the Ardent Sensor, so when it comes to standing damage trades, the game kind of takes a left turn that wasn't on the cards until Ruler made that critical solo mistake.
An important power spike certainly for Varus, and it's a really nice linear growth from here. Hurricane's great to buy a Blade of the Rune King you expect against triple melee. You know, especially tank melee, he's going to get plenty of damage out of that one, so Prey's going to be pretty happy skilling throughout the rest of this one. Art Center done on both these sides as well, of course. And yeah, I think Longzhu have kind of crusted over some of the really difficult parts of this game, and can look quite a bit better. Waiting to see if they can keep this one going as the fight for the blue buff is in, but it's in Fog of War. Can't quite get that one. No slow to land thanks to Frost Armor, and blue will be handed over to BDD. Gets that cleanly enough. Ooh, and they cut him off actually. Gives it a little bit of extra free time to Ruler, but only gets a few auto attacks off. Pulls Dagger with the satchel charge, and a half HP turret as Longzhu looks for back a little bit more. Prey won't pull the ultimate. Rocket Jump would be there in time.
Again, when you look at the bottom lane, it's not that big of an issue because if they're both close to each other, they cannot join these fights. Yes, the teleports are available, but both of them can interrupt each other. So both of these 4-man squads defending very aggressively here. And as you said, the Rift Herald is available for Longzhu if they really want to push it.
Not they're cheeky at all. Half health turret would go down. A little bit of a stun. Now Khan's got to be careful. Getting away with it. Does not get pushed back, but he's got to watch out for taunt range. Looks he's going to kite them back and stay alive as BDD was coming over to save his life. Cuzz nearby as well, meaning a soon 3v2. Means no more fights to be had.
And often see the smooth moves from the Cho'Gath, but able to walk away there and not even have to use his flash. Top lane tug of war, kind of being all around the vision control. Longzhu being able to establish the 2 control wards around their blue buff have been able to actually push up and equalize lane pressure with Samsung, despite how the early game went and the globals available. Samsung, they know the Weavers will, of course, on cooldown for a little bit longer, so the pace slowing down a little bit, given how things started, is the first part of a multi-part process to bring Longzhu back into the game.
It is just so strange. You talked about how backwards this game feels with Samsung Galaxy winning early. Longzhu saying, all right, we'll actually play for team fights and not the 4-1. We're hoping to scale to late. And Ruler got a face check into Prey. A lot of damage coming across. Jukes away from the stun, but this could be enough for Gorilla to drop down. Looking for a bit more. There's Shield coming across. There's no way for Prey to get any more damage in. As the rest of the team joins in as well. Cuzz quite low. The flash backwards. A nice knock at the buy some time. In the wall. Weaver's wall won't quite find the rest of the team, but it is BDD isolated, coming in by himself 1v4 and flashes just to get himself killed regardless. 1-0 Samsung.
He did not have the lane priority for BDD to walk straight down. He's pincered by Crown and taken down. Even if the 4v4 fight was so even, it's now not 4v4.
Ooh, a chop comes in, though, a kill through for Khan, getting one for himself with a trade back as Cuzz gonna lose his life. A nice little bit of damage out of CuVee's Shen. One for one on the bot side. Still, though, it means lane pressure for Samsung Galaxy in this top turret to fall.
Exactly. Samsung still with the extra man advantage here, and they will claim this objective afterwards. Can I just say that we should have all fights start with AD carries walking point blank into each other?
Sure, okay.
Makes them getting extremely exciting there, and we did get to see, again, Samsung with the ability to join the fight faster. Crown came in here on the Taliyah, and then as you said, the kill that goes over is BDD walking up the river here on the Orianna in the flank.
Own weapons being used against him in a knockout best of 5. We see the replay. Ruler's called to return to lane because he has ambition to CoreJJ around. First, not massive, not enough there. You see the Cosmic Gradients come down, but it's all about the minimap here with the mid laners joining.
Exactly. Look at the minimap. BDD is walking up the river, but Taliyah gets to make up that entire distance, and all of a sudden, you're left on the wrong side there.
Yeah, and he almost got over the wall, couldn't quite do it, only got over Weavers, not the actual Summoner's Rift one, so stuck on the wrong side of that corner. Too bad. It was close, and of course the re-engage. A lot of first damage out of Ambition.
We'll take him down first if there's any sort of frontline pressure here, but it ends up being 1-for-1, and we already knew the minion wave was supporting Samsung, picking up turrets to 0 so far in this game.
Really pretty safe on that one. Gets the rocket jump in time to get out of the rupture from Khan, but Mountain Drake alive, and with Ruler on the other side of the map, this could be a little bit of something. CuVee has teleport, though, if he wants to join this fight, or he might give it away.
Again, Longzhu are on a timer here. Both side lanes pushing for Samsung. They could collapse at any moment here. Teleport starting to channel for Shen.
Crown backside. Oh, it's going to be a pickup there for the blue team, and here comes the giant of vulnerability. The first kill coming through already for Crown. 1-for-0, and Cuzz going to drop, making it a second one. And it's going to be a giant stun on the backside. This could be everything they need. Shotgun to buy a few seconds, but it doesn't matter. A triple kill coming across. 2 actually back in, but Khan not going to lose his life. BDD the last one to remain here, but he's in a 1 versus 3, and Crown gonna have the damage. King me, a quadra kill for Samsung's mid laner.
Samsung are setting the pace of this game, the tempo of this game. They decide to fight. Prey does not have the 2 items he traditionally does have because Longzhu are the ones deciding when to fight traditionally. Tradition's gone. Opposite day is here, and Samsung Galaxy are careening through me.
Yeah, the game just cracked wide open here for Samsung. They're able to get tremendous amount of pressure with 2 turrets in mid lane, huge minion wave pushed into the bottom lane, able to clean so much off of the map after this.
And we know Samsung Galaxy has this power. They had this run themselves in the last split, or last year. We'll see this fight again first, though.
BDD once again is separated from his team. Look at him hopelessly walk forwards and back, forwards and back. Doesn't even have flash to try to go for an aggressive flash over the wall. He was getting auto attacks up, but unfortunately it was a Sejuani or an altered Cosmic Radiance target. He could do nothing.
There have been so many questions for Crown with his summer performance in the LCK, very much lacking. You know, which Crown will we see here at the World Championships? How much are we going to get out of Crown on this stage? And he's definitely showing up here. Huge plays for him so far.
And as much applause from Samsung themselves as the audience here in Guangzhou. Again, I want to bring up the point I did before the rudely interrupting replay showed up here. Samsung Galaxy, last year around this time, put their new roster together, beginning of summer split. Crown got the start, CoreJJ, and the rest of the squad all lined up here. And they made it to the World Finals. Almost out of nowhere, they were a top 4 finisher in the LCK, and they made that beautiful run. And in spring, Crown was the MVP. It seemed like they would keep it going. They'd be such a strong team, but summer, it started lacking. Crown himself started being overlooked. BDD was then the MVP of the summer split, and Longzhu is the new hotness. And looks like Samsung Galaxy looking to reclaim that crown.
If you guys remember the opening day tease in the week 1 of groups, week 2 of groups, a lot of people were saying, we got to Worlds. This is the place. What happened before doesn't matter. And I think when people looked at this game, they felt the same way. They were like, there was a regular season, there was a spring and a summer. But think about this tournament. Longzhu's been on a tear, and Samsung have looked weak. But again, this is Longzhu versus Samsung. It's a Korea versus Korea match. It is an extension of what happened in the summer season. So actually coming in here, you can see that actually the earlier tournament meta has been turned on its head, and Samsung can play proactive as well as Longzhu.
And even last year at Worlds, in Korea versus Korea, best of 5, people did not expect Samsung to push SKT far at all. Yet we got 5 games in that series. And here, at least we're going to get that. Samsung don't want to even let Longzhu have that many.
And it's been a pretty remarkable run. I know a lot of people coming in saying, why isn't KT Rolster here? Samsung Galaxy, they look like pushovers this one, but they won that regional final match to get the spot, and now up against the toughest competition you could probably have at Worlds, the undefeated Longzhu up until now, looking very solid. They won game 1, game 2 looking good as well. 6,500 gold up in 22 minutes is a sizable advantage. Looking to close it out to be a 2-0 start in this best of 5.
Wherever CoreJJ is, very difficult for Longzhu to do anything, because you can just pop the Cosmic Radiance if the team is grouped. Taliyah will rotate first. Shen will rotate first over the Cho'Gath. Basically, wherever Samsung goes, you can see Longzhu going one way, and that's defensively. And basically the whole map, especially the Baron side, is controlled by Samsung.
Samsung's comp is so difficult to deal with for Longzhu at this point, because Samsung have so many tools to start out the fights, and then, as you mentioned so many times here with the Taric, they have the tools as well to ensure that they can survive the duration of that fight. Makes it very difficult for Longzhu to try and navigate those big ultimates.
Taric definitely an exceptional Baron support here. AoE Ardent Sensors, even on the tanks and the mages, actually can make quite use out of the auto attacks. Ambition taking away the Wolf Camp here, getting more and more farm away from Cuzz. Khan, ulti grabs himself the red buff, no chance.
How many times do we have to see Samsung push in, contest, push up vision, and then go back to the Baron that we know there's been no ability for Longzhu to ward before they use the other thing Taric can do so well. We see it this time. They're very fast Baron power, and Longzhu, understandably, are on the back foot and slow.
Teleport coming in, but the Weaver's ball prevents it. Cuzz gonna try. He can ult, he can flash, but it's half HP. Doesn't look at knockback, but does get stunned up. Here's the ulti pop. This could be the team fight. Samsung not quite able to kill Cuzz, and this is the Taric ulti down. Cataclysm a bit early. Shotgun going up by the front line. That is not major damage. Stoneblade pops here by Khan, staying alive a bit longer, finds the silence, push back into the team. Watch out for Prey. Down a half HP from a crit out of Ruler. This will be a disengage.
What a close skirmish right there. Timing a little bit off, but in the end, nobody going down, and Longzhu did stop the Baron. So at that, objective completed, even though it cost them the Cho'Gath teleport. See?
Trying again. Stun on the Cho'Gath. They're going to walk forward. Prey at half HP. No easy way into the fight. Flashes up on everyone but Cuzz here. Crown waiting around the wide.
Samsung trying to bait for the Stand United engage there. They had CuVee in base, waiting to pull the trigger, but Longzhu again, do not step out of line.
And Samsung, just like game 1, eventually became a game of chicken around the Baron with the Malzahar. They can just have ambition, start Baron, peel off, Warmog's healing comes out, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, and wait for that colossal mistake that we did see a couple of times in the first series. So The Baron focus worked in game 1 so far, doing fine, but do note, second item completed by Prey, but it is not the Hurricane. It's not for the AoE. He's trying to buff up the damage and hope maybe some magic resist shred will help out the Orianna Shockwave.
Magic resist itself, of course, pretty useful against Taliyah, but this is not, I would say, the best team fight item you could go for here. AoE Ardent Sensor is just so strong, and all the on-hit damage from Rageblade the same. And we'll see if it pays off, but I am not looking positively on Prey's single target damage output.
We'll have to see if that's a huge effect or not. Yeah, a lot of times when judging the AD carry buys, and the pros of Wit's End to me are almost always focused heavily on the defense part and the magic resistance that you're getting with it. So we'll see if he's able to survive and by small margins, and the magic damage threats are definitely there on Longzhu, or I mean on Samsung, to threaten him. And Prey has had success with these, half offensive, half defensive builds before.
Yeah.
We'll see if this one's actually going to be a breaker, because Samsung has so much control, and they're starting up Baron yet again.
Again, the attempt continues. That's now on cooldown. 8,000 health left from the Baron. They're going to peel off as CoreJJ goes at about half HP. Weaver's Wall looking for the engagement. They found the stun. Looking for the flashback. Prey going to stay alive, but Cuzz going to lose his life 1-for-0 on this. The re-engage, and they're going to get the second one. Godlike as Crown continues. 100% kill participation. 13 kills in 26 minutes.
It's so easy for Samsung. There's no teleport on Khan, and of course, Stand United and teleport available from Samsung. This time they got the turn they wanted. One member goes down. They Goomba stomp through with the Tristana, and they just turn back onto the Baron.
The biggest difference is that we always talk about teams successfully using Taric and teams failing with it, is that you have to have forms of crowd control to force the fights and ensure the engagements during the invulnerability. Samsung just forced this so hard immediately as soon as Longzhu come down the river to face check. Ambition is in there. Stand United's on top of him. Taliyah wall, and there's no fighting back.
Yeah, Cho'Gath is slowly walking. There's nothing he can do. The fight is over before he even comes into the picture. Maybe buys Gorilla a couple more seconds of life. You're right, Kobe. They may have Orianna and Jarvan, which sounds like an initiation combo. It's not going to be threatening the backline. It's not going to be able to get big damage there. And Prey, to me, probably went Wit's End, because they're not going to choose when a fight starts. He's probably going to dump a lot of Hurricane bolts into the Cosmic Radiance. He's just trying to survive.
Do that, but it's going to be pretty difficult. The gold lead almost 10,000 right now, a 25% gold lead nearly for Samsung Galaxy. Things down the line, every single member has more items, more levels, more gold, more everything. As another turret's going to fall right here, making it over 10K now. 10.5, Samsung Galaxy poised to make it a 2-0 start against almost every single expectation.
Longzhu looking completely out of sorts here against Samsung, and the questions are already arising of how will they be able to recover in this series, if at all, after such a strong showing here in game number 2 for Samsung as they continue to pressure.
Yeah, more and more damage coming across. Continue wave for this threat at half HP. Another engage in the top side. 2v1 against CuVee. He's got flash though if he needs it. The silence has already worn off. He's not going to go across the wall just yet. There he does, and gets away from Cataclysm. Burns nothing important.
No idea how that was expected to work. He was holding onto his cooldown. Still has flash available as well. Does mean they're outnumbered on the bot side as well.
Siege can continue. Shockwave not going to go quite the right time. Proper buffering from Ruler. Casts it late enough. The Shockwave lands, and then Rocket Jump comes through.
He's messed a couple of those up, so we'll compliment Ruler that time, actually getting the priority right. Brown happily going side lane. Khan hasn't been able to itemize too further into anything real. Just backs away.
Samsung continuing to try and use the Baron buff on all 3 lanes, pushing in these minions and chipping away at the turrets. Here comes the Weaver's Wall to help out with some isolated damage on mid.
Locks out BDD, and that means bot turret's going to fall mid lane. Sure to drop as well. The damage is in. 2 more turrets have fallen. 15,000 almost to lead. The sun comes across. This could be the fight that closes the game. A knock up there, but no one's going to fall. It's only Prey dropping, and Ruler safe on the backside. The chase continues to stun the lane on Cuzz. This Jarvan could be losing his life. He's going to stay alive a little bit longer. Ambition can't quite find the knockup, but a 5v4 as the team re-engages. Bot lane inhibitor to fall. Cuzz forced to retreat. Khan unable to do anything in the front line. A flash actually out. They were afraid of dying to Crown's damage output. 14-5, under 30 minutes. A stomp of a game so far for Samsung Galaxy. They've pulled in Khan. He can't survive it. Maybe he can. Is he going to limp away and stay up there? But the chase into BDD. A little bit more as Cuzz going to fall. The second one to drop is Gorilla. And a nice knockback by Crowd. Looking for another quadrant. Not yet going to have it though. BDD staying alive in the back lines. And it just simply doesn't matter. 2 versus 5. Samsung Galaxy will not be stopped. Crowd perfect kill participation, a sub 30-minute Game 2 win for Samsung Galaxy.
Samsung looking so good right now. Game number 1, they play as expected, survive the early game, team fight to victory. But game number 2, they push the tempo. Shen, Taliyah, roaming, creating these plays for themselves and being able to push that victory so early against Longzhu, delivering blow after blow.
That pressure draft from Samsung honestly made Longzhu look ordinary after their extraordinary run, winning the LCK in the rookie split of Cuzz. On the Royal Road was Cuzz all the way to the World Final. He's a couple of steps away now because they find themselves 2-0 down. So much of a compliment, though, to crown this game. It felt like there was a border that was set up every time BDD wanted to enter a fight. Never on his terms could they use the Orianna, who had farmed in the early game, and they kind of ran basically every engagement and left Longzhu to just watch on in awe.
The team rallied around Crown. After the first blood was given over, that was the first huge play. They countered the second one, and they believed in him, and he paid them back.
Well, he paid him back nicely. 2-0 so far, Samsung Galaxy looking to maybe make it a complete sweep and 3 straight. But now, to hear more about that 2-0 start, let's send it down to our analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Best of 5s are all about adaptation, and Longzhu has to take a stab at it, remaining on the blue side. They do it by targeting the Malzahar of all things. What are our thoughts here on how Longzhu decided to react to the loss in Game 1?
I thought the Malzahar was fine. Clearly, they did not know how to deal with it, but I actually don't think the composition was much of a big deal. Giving Taliyah was the big issue because it is a power pick for BDD. However, I'm with Azale on the assessment for Game 1. Even bigger in Game 2. Execution. Is this even Longzhu? Are they here?
It just doesn't feel like the same team, right? I watched so much of them in LCK Summer, so impressed by them there, so impressed by them in the LCK playoffs, all the way, you know, against SKT, looking dominant. Then in groups, it just felt like they're impressing more and more and more, and you can say what you want about perhaps them having an easier group than we had thought. Maybe the comparisons were somewhat off there, but even just mechanical errors, it feels like the decisions they're making, it feels like the way that they're playing the fights is not the same as what I have seen over the past few months.
I just want to give credit to Samsung for that, because I think Samsung are just playing so well. This draft, amazing, in my opinion. I think this draft was so good from Samsung.
From Samsung, yeah.
From Samsung, of course, because first of all, they have this setup with a Shen and a Taliyah, meaning it's so easy to either defend mid with Shen or go bot lane where you have a Taric that can set up a tower dive against a Lulu who can't stop it at all. So I love the setup for them with the overall comp. And I have this rule coming into Worlds saying BDD or Crown should never, ever get Taliyah. Ever. And clearly, even when Koreans are playing each other, that should not happen.
Hey, look, Deficio, I didn't give it to them. You don't have to yell
I blame
at me.
you.
I did not.
I blame you.
This is not on me.
They banned Cassio
You know
over
what?
Taliyah.
You know what I love about this, though, this game here, is it showed a different look for Samsung. We talked about the different ways that Samsung could win, right? They could draft late, stall it out, win past that 40-minute mark, or they have to index early and make plays happen, beat Longzhu early, and that's what they did here. The Shen and the Taliyah pick coming up big for them in that way.
And you have to give so much credit, I think, to Ambition, who has been everywhere, it feels like, in the early games, especially when it's not even like he's playing an early game jungle. He's not on Lee Sin. He's out ganking his opponent on a Sejuani and looking miles better than he did in group stage.
And they're just giving him comfort every time. And taking the Sejuani for him, not only making that big play middle, but here, as the Fisher was saying, you have the Taliyah, you go straight to the bottom lane. And this is after the bottom lane actually burns summoners out of the blue. So it just becomes such an easy setup for you that you know it's going to happen when you see the draft. This is a play that is just by the book. That's exactly what Samsung have been doing, and then you have the creativity that the Taliyah
There's your
brings.
stat line, Azale. That's what you're looking for right there for Ambition, showing a lot of action in the early game and successful in that action.
And that's 0-3-0, not in one game. That's over 5 games, right? Like, pre-15 minutes, he did nothing, and he has been pivotal for them in the early games today.
Very much so.
Also, the replay we just saw right there once again shows why the comp made so much sense from Samsung's side, because when BDD is picking Orianna here against Taliyah, he's never going to assist his side lanes. And then it doesn't matter if you have these Lulu Varus that can actually push the bot lane, because they're never going to get any help. Taliyah can always go down first while Orianna is stuck there, add in then a jungler, maybe even a Shen ulti in a later fight, and then suddenly you have 5-man bot lane just killing Longzhu right there.
You do have to question, though, even before the Taliyah was down there, even before the Shen was down there, you know, this is supposed to be far and away the best bot lane in the world, drafting an advantageous 2v2. and going just about even, right? You know, where are the advantages for Longzhu that we were expecting coming into this? It's supposed to be, you know, maybe it's Khan and CuVee going close, going head-to-head, but everyone really thought that Longzhu's bot lane was the superior.
Crumbs, get in here before I push this forward.
Well, I felt like the draft from Longzhu they gave up the win condition that they typically have, giving away the Taliyah and then Khan succumbing into the Cho'Gath. He has never played a tank in his entire LCK career. And now they do it after they got smoked game 1. Not too confident.
I think that's with the bot lane point. You can't apply pressure yourself in a 2v2 if the enemy mid laner and even enemy top laner can go to your lane so easily. It just makes it impossible to play aggressive. You will get ganked, Taric will stun you, you will die, and it stops Praying Gorilla from being able to win lane.
Right, but we're looking at Praying Gorilla, right? One of the best bot lanes in the world, and they are struggling. I do want to take a look at the dragon fight that took place in 19 minutes. This is an ace and a quadra kill here for the mid laner, brought to you by Acer Predator.
And this fight just starts out with a beautiful wall out of Crown. You have a 4v5 already, so it's almost impossible to lose this fight at this point. They try their best, but can you really do anything about it when the setup is so pristine out of Samsung?
And I think the Crown really also deserves a massive amount of credit because he's another guy, if you're looking statistically, he really did not get much done, you know, in the group stages. Either him and Ambition have been playing so much better, and the fact that they are rising to the occasion is super impressive.
And you talk about the importance of Prey for this Longzhu squad. Of course, when you're getting zeroed out at the beginning of a fight, it's hard for you to put damage out, but I just want to throw this number out for you. 764 was his DPM through group stages, 523 so far here in the series. That's down 32%. So again, when we're looking at maybe the best performing member on the team in terms of their win conditions and one of the big veterans on the squad, he's not putting up the numbers that he needs to be in order for them to come away with a win.
He's getting shot down first in laning phase and then in the fights here. The Janna was banned away by Samsung, which was smart because Lulu is not as good at protecting picks like a Varus. When you are playing some of these comps here with the Taliyah, they can also get onto him because of the insane creativity from Crown. Like, those walls are allowing his team to get to the back line of Longzhu in every single fight, or stopping one member of the backline from even dealing damage.
Longzhu has to put 3 wins together in a row here to move on to the semifinals. They have elected to move to red side, but let's remember, this was a 6-0 team, the most dominant team coming out of the group stages. Yes, there's arguments to be made about the group that they were in, but here they are, down 2 games in a best of 5, not looking like the team that we thought they would be coming in. What do? What's the problem?
Well, when we saw Longzhu coming into this tournament, we saw them as the new greatest team ever, but there was one flaw, one possibility for them to fail, and it's that it was a team without international experience. 3 rookies relatively new to the scene alongside Praying Gorilla. We thought, are they going to perform very well? Group stages proved that, in fact, it was too easy. They did not get tested enough there, and now against a real opponent, a real tough opponent, a Korean team, the strongest number 2 seed, it's too much for them.
And to me, as far as what do you have to do, I think you need to go to what has worked for your team. You need to build some confidence. Give Khan a counter pick in the top lane. Allow him to actually do what made Longzhu this spectacular team, to take over a lane, to get pressure in the side, and allow their bot lane to try to be the ones absorbing the pressure and not necessarily having the onus on them. Because as you said, post 6, it's so hard for them to do anything into a draft like this. You know, go back to what has worked all year long.
I think going to red side is basically step number 1 to get that potential counter pick as well. I think if you can get a Taliyah, awesome. It's probably going to get banned away. I think take Sejuani away. Give it to yourself. Get a stronger front line.
The easy part was choosing red side.
It was actually step number 1.
No, but yes,
did that.
It's a necessary step, but it's the easy step. The question will be, what does Samsung have? You know, some kind of ingenious plan for the blue side here in Champs Select? We'll find out soon enough, rather. Samsung Galaxy are up 2-0 against the current LCK champion. See if Samsung can close out the series against Longzhu Gaming when we come back. Don't go anywhere.